Hello, everyone. This is Pam Gomez with Tech Talk Live. Today, I have with me my special guest, Miss Eileen Smith, the Tech Talk, first guest ever. She's known as the social media diva. She's the ultimate blogger and podcaster. Welcome, Eileen.
Well, hello and hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming and checking out our little conversation that we're going to have here today.
Eileen, it's so nice to have you here with me again. You were one of my first guests when I started blogging and broadcasting, live streaming, I should say. And I've always been meaning to ask you to come back again, and I'm so happy that you accepted the invitation.
Well, I appreciate you for having me.
I've known you for about 2 years now, maybe a year and a half, going on 2. I know a lot about what you do, but please tell my audience.
Well, everyone, like Pam said, my name is Eileen Smith, and I'm a blogger. I am a YouTuber, and I also do a lot of live streaming. And sometimes people refer to me as a social media diva.
Yes, we certainly do. Eileen, so much I want to ask you about today, but I have to limit it to blogging. But in blogging, I know that it is recommended that you have a website. I know you have one. And what would you say to the person who want to start a blog who does not have a website?
Oh, wow. Actually, I have helped a lot of people get started with blogging because actually the name of my blog is Basic Blog Tips. That's basicblogtips.com. And so a lot of folks have come there that are beginners, even though we also serve intermediate level and advanced bloggers there. But one of the first things that you need to do is focus on a topic. And it's something that none of us wants to do, especially when we first start blogging. You know, blogging is really something that's just so empowering, and we just feel like we can just conquer the world. And so we try to conquer every topic we possibly can. But what we need to do is narrow down to a target audience and stick to a specific topic.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And Pam, you've done a great job of that with your old natural aromatherapy website, where it's really focused on your essential oils and all that. But like I said, a lot of people, like, I got to be honest, I'll confess, when I first started blogging, my blog was just the opposite of what I'm recommending to you. My blog was about love, life, music, and anything else that comes to mind. Of course, that wasn't Basic Blog Tips. That was my first blog, which was eileen.wordpress.com. And I started off on wordpress.com. And I just was, like I said, I just became so empowered, and I just felt so like I could conquer the world. And that's everything that I was interested in, was love, life, and music. And so I just wanted to cover it all, but you can't do that.
Well, Eileen, I have a passion, as you know, for aromatherapy. And I could not for the life of me, after starting a GoDaddy website builder web page, could not figure out for the life of me why I wasn't getting any traffic, because I was just posting a couple things on the website, but I was not blogging per se. I was not writing stories about the oils and the therapies that I use, and how people were being, and I don't use this word lightly, people were being healed by using these essential oils. I myself use essential oils for pain, and I had to tell people. So the way I found to do that was by blogging, and you were part of that inspiration. So I know when I first started, I thought I needed to have a one-page blog, but talking to you and others, Beauty Bubble, and the friends we have in our work and focus group, I realized that that could be expanded on my website, and I didn't have to get another hosting plan. It could all be done in one spot. So me, the novice, started out with the WordPress.com, right? And I found that to be somewhat of a nightmare when it came to um, what's my word I'm looking for? Hosting. For, I didn't have that free will to do what I want and secure my files the way I wanted to. It was limiting. So then I moved to WordPress.org, and this is what I think you use now, isn't it?
Yes. Okay. Let me explain. I'm going to break this down for folks because it gets very confusing.
Okay.
There is a company that's called Automatic. And Automatic runs and owns WordPress. There's one version of WordPress, which is what I referred to earlier, WordPress.com, which is 100% free. You could go over there today and start a blog. However, and WordPress, the folks at Automatic do all the web hosting for you. And so you don't have to pay for a web host. However, because they are hosting for thousands and thousands of people, they have to put limitations and restrictions on things like advertisements and running different scripts that tend to take up a lot of resources and would,
Right.
overtax their servers. So you get the free blogging platform. You get a chance to spread your message and have a voice, but you have limitations as far as how you can collect email addresses and how you can display different content because of the server resources. So here's the other option. And this is the other beautiful thing about WordPress. You can get a self-hosted blog, meaning you yourself goes out and pays for your own server hosting. That gives you the flexibility to have any kind of plugins installed, which is what most people want to do when they have a WordPress.org account. But the software, WordPress, is 100% free. So that's why people are confused, because the WordPress.com blogging platform is free and WordPress.org software is also 100% free, but you need a host, which is going to cost you money in order to host your website.
Well, thank you so much for that. I'm sure you cleared that up for many of us who are considering blogging. But Eileen, there's something you said there that I have to talk about, and that is free versus paid. And here it is, for those who are starting out, you like that word free. But there was the limitations of what you can do. And then there's the free that you pay for the house hosting that just seemed to open up another world. But the thing that concerns me is that free site, that .com, I found that there was more persons finding my blog faster and subscribing faster. Then I had to transition. I'm almost tempted to go back to the free where they find me faster.
Well, the thing about WordPress.com is that it is actually a community, and people don't really talk about it that much. But you can actually follow other blogs right within WordPress.com, and you can search for blogs, and you're not searching on Google with your self-hosted blog. You'd have to get discovered on Google. But with WordPress.com, you actually can get discovered right within the platform because, like I said, it's actually a community and people can search by different topics right inside of WordPress.com and they can follow you there. Also, one of the things that affects rankings in the search engines has to do with speed and how fast and a page is loaded, as well as the domain age. Well, WordPress.com has been around for years, more than a decade. I don't want to quote an actual year because I wasn't around back then,
Yeah.
but it's getting very close to 20 years. Okay.
Right.
So being on WordPress.com, you actually have a sort of a subdomain within the WordPress.com infrastructure. So you get the benefit of the fast loading because remember, I said they're not going to let you have all those scripts, the plugins, and all that stuff that you can run on your own self-hosted site. So your self-hosted site, especially when you're just starting, you don't have any authority. You don't bring anything to the table. You got to build traffic and it takes time. Whereas with WordPress.com, and you still have to build traffic there too, but you don't have as many things working against you because your page is going to load really fast. It's going to be all these new things that Google comes out with about being served up more quickly on mobile phones and all that stuff. See, now all of us on WordPress.org, we got to get a plugin. Because Google came up with this new thing recently called AMP. Now, I'm saying AMP now, but you could be watching this 2 years from now and it'll be something else Google will come up with. Okay. So, the AMP, that's not the point. The point is that the algorithms are constantly trying to make sites rank higher when they run quickly. And the more plugins you add to your self-hosted WordPress.org ran site is going to slow down your site. So even though we want things to load fast on mobile, we got to add a plugin. And what does plugins do? Plugins take longer to load. So it slows your site down, even if it's only milliseconds. You might not notice it. As a site owner, you're like, "Wait, my site is still moving fast." But remember, these search engines, they got bots. They have machines,
Now that brings a question to mind that I didn't even think about until now. What about having plugins that you're not using, just sitting there in your hosting plan? Is that slowing down your speed as well?
Absolutely. You should never, when you're done with the plugin and you deactivate it, delete it.
I did not know that.
And there are certain plugins that even after you delete them, they still leave some legacy data in your database, like tables and so forth. It gets really complicated. And I don't think we need to get that complicated for this conversation. No. But the point is that, yeah, if you're not using a plugin, deactivate it and delete it. And if you still think that your site is moving sluggish, you can test your site speed. There's several testing tools, but just use the one from Google. I think it's called Speed Test. It's Google Speed Test. And if you find that it's still running a little sluggish, then contact your host, and your host can look in there. And if you have a good host, that's why it's important that you have a good host. I recommend HostGator, and I'm also experimenting with one called SiteGround. I have a new website that's going to be debuting very shortly. And so if the support team is up to par, they should be able to go in there and look and see if there's some legacy data that needs to be stripped out of your code.
There's two hosting plans that I highly recommend: HostGator and Bluehost. And I'm not only saying that because of affiliate programs, which some of us do have. It's because of persons who I know in my circle who are using these platforms, and their sites are functioning well and they look good, and they talk to me about their support system, and they all seem to have it. So, I would recommend those two.
One thing that's important for folks to know is that actually HostGator and Bluehost are both owned by the same company, which is
Oh,
AIG. Yeah, they got
no,
so.
no wonder they're both highly recommended.
And hello there, young fella.
Hello, Robert.
Does Robert know we're live on YouTube?
Um, I'm going to tell him right now.
I'm not sure he knows. He's got to look. Oh, yes, he does. He didn't know he was live.
I didn't know.
Hey.
Welcome, Robert. Would you like to ask us a question? Ask Miss Eileen a question about blogging?
I'm caught a little off guard. I don't really know what the conversation is about today.
We're actually talking about blogging. Miss Eileen is here with me today talking about how to start a blog. And there are a number of our listeners and viewers who have wanted to start a blog and they just didn't know how. So we're talking about the ins and outs of blogging, the platforms to use, and all other things related to blogging.
I guess one thing that I never really understood, Miss Eileen, is the WordPress thing. Aren't there two different? In there like a WordPress website opposed to? I'm sorry, I'm going blank, but
That's okay. It's okay, Robert. It's okay. Let me just explain to you that actually that was the first question of the interview today. And so I've actually gone over that pretty much in detail. But what I will add to that, because what happens with the free blogging platforms, I want to go into that a little bit more because I think that folks that are just starting off will be interested in the free blogging platforms. So we have the WordPress.com, which we covered, which is, to answer Robert's question, which is a website, but it's also a community. It's also a place where you can go and claim your own domain. And then there is Blogger, which is the website that or the blogging platform from Google. Now, because it's from Google, don't be mistaken that, oh, Google's going to rank you higher in the search engines because you're using their platform. No, it doesn't work like that. And Blogger is kind of easy to learn, but you can also get very technical with Blogger because they do allow you to add some code and things that you can't do on WordPress.com.
Right.
The only thing is, when you're first starting out, you don't know how to use add code. You have to do it manually. So what good is that?
Right.
So if you really know how to code, you probably would just set up a website with some other software. And the other one that I want to mention for folks, because I don't want anything to hold you back. If you're that person that wants to start blogging, you have a message, you have something to say, you have a topic that you're interested in, that inspires you, that you're passionate about, check out Medium. You can sign in with your Twitter. I believe you can also sign in with Facebook and use the Medium platform. And another reason why I'm also recommending that to folks is because it's very clean, it's very streamlined, and it's also similar to WordPress.com, a community where people can follow one another's blogs, comment, like posts, and all that from within the community. You need to sign in order to do that. And it has easy social sharing there, and you can embed your videos and your slide share presentations and all of that. Is very similar to WordPress.com, to be honest with you. In fact, the big difference that I would say between WordPress.com and Medium is that Medium is cleaner, because with WordPress.com, just like your self-hosted WordPress, you have sidebars with widgets where you can put little things like all of my latest tweets, or follow me on YouTube. You can put different widgets, banners, buy my products or whatever, right? Which you really can't do on WordPress.com, but you know what I mean? You have these widget sidebars. You don't have that on Medium. Medium does not allow you to do that. That platform doesn't extend. It's just your written word and your multimedia, being images, YouTube videos, or presentations.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Miss Eileen. Thank you, Robert, for popping in to ask that question.
Thanks,
We
Robert.
will move on to my next question, and then I think we've almost covered our time, Miss Eileen. This question I should have asked you earlier, but never too late. Who inspired you to start blogging?
Great question. Always one of my favorite questions, and the one that I love, love, love to answer. In order to do that, I have to tell you a little story. Before I started blogging, I worked for a publishing company, and actually I still work for this we're a technical book publisher. So I would go online only for things like Internet Movie Database, because I was really into movies, even though I'm not into them now. Looking up words on Merriam-Webster's, things like that. And if I really wanted to get deep, I went to Wikipedia, right?
Yes.
But I have a daughter. I have an adult daughter. She was living with me, and then she moved to California. So, of course, I was missing my baby. Okay. And so one day, my daughter, she either called me up or she emailed me. She said, "Mom, I have a blog." And I was like, I got to follow my daughter's blog, right? I know a little bit about blogging, and I know that you can follow blogs, but I actually had no idea how to do it. And I knew there was this thing called an RSS feed, but it was just way over my head. Of course, now I know what it is. I teach what RSS feeds are. If anybody's confused, I have a YouTube channel and a blog post about it. But anyway, at that time, I didn't know. So I went to her blog, and she was the Bond girl. That's gone now, but it was on WordPress.com. And she was doing like little satirical posts about things that were happening in the financial industry, which is what she was doing. That was her job at the time. And so I went on, and I'm like, oh, I got to follow her. I got to sign up to follow my baby's blog, right? I'm calling her baby, but she's adult. And I'm filling out all this information, my email address and and it was like, well, what would you do? And next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I actually signed up for a blog. I wasn't just following her. I was signing up for my own blog. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I can write blogs. Oh, what am I going to do? Remember I told you earlier, I was like, I write about love and life and music and anything else that comes to mind. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, but what I would do is go out on the internet and learn different things. It wasn't the way it is now. Like right now, there's tons of tutorials about WordPress. Back then, there wasn't any. And you had to piecemeal information together. And as I would learn, because I'm a little forgetful, I was like, well, I better write a blog post about this. So I won't forget how to do it.
We got a question. That is such a great story.
And that's how people liked when I wrote. They didn't want to hear about the love and the life and all that stuff. They wanted to hear my tutorials. That's what resonated with them. And I love doing it. And so hence basic blog tips.
Oh, great. I got a question coming in, and it's from Alfredo.
Hey, Alfredo.
How long does blog? Oh, no, sorry. How long does my blog post needs to be? 1 paragraph, 3 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs?
I would say that a good blog post that not only has any kind of a chance for ranking on Google, but also serves your audience by providing information, I would say that it should be a minimum of 100 words. Because other than that, you could just write a Facebook post or a tweet if it's going to be shorter than that. You know, a blog should at least have an introduction, a middle, like a meaty part, whatever it is you're trying to tell, convey, teach, or talk about, and an ending. So you can't do that in 3 sentences. If that's the case, like I said, just post it on Facebook.
So I'm just starting out, and I want to know, can I add my picture and can I add a video to my blog?
You're just starting out, and you want to know, can you add your picture?
Yes.
Now, with WordPress.com, and this also works on WordPress.org, and with Google, which will also work on Blogger, there's a profile. You'll have a profile, which you can upload an image. And it's called Gravatar on WordPress. And on Google, it's just your Google profile. So you can actually have your Gravatar represented, and it's tied to your email address. So even if you didn't start a blog yet, and you just wanted to go around commenting on other people's blogs, when you leave a comment on somebody's blog and you enter your email address, that pulls in your Gravatar, your picture. So, yes,
so it's automatic.
It's automatic, but you have to sign up at gravatar.com. And guess what? I have a tutorial about that.
I bet you do.
Okay. And Blogger is the same. And it's basically, you're just filling out a form, but you won't be starting a blog maybe you will. I'm not sure.
Feel free to drop the link to that blog post, and so some of our followers can watch it and learn from it.
Yep.
Now, in summing up, I know we're going a little bit over the time because I wanted to keep to 30 minutes. Okay. As long as I got your approval, there's a couple other questions I want to get in there. Can you share with us some of the bloggers that you follow and who inspires you?
Absolutely. A lot of you guys know me, will know that. Let me go back. Let me go back to that story of when I first started blogging, and I was on the internet searching for, how to use WordPress. What was the difference between Blogger and WordPress? And I was actually on YouTube, and I found a woman who ended up being my online mentor, and her name is Lisa Irby. IRBY, Lisa Irby. And her blog is To Create a Website. That's the number 2, createawebsite.com. And I had the privilege we wound up, becoming online friends, and I've even interviewed her on my blog. But I highly, 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 especially if you're planning on monetizing your efforts here online, I highly recommend that you follow Lisa Irby. And in fact, I just shared one of her blog posts this morning where she was talking about an Amazon merch store, because Lisa does a little bit of everything. Affiliate marketing, she sells products, she teaches courses, and she knows how to do graphics and build websites. So
that is wonderful.
Yeah. There's a couple others that I'll mention really quickly, because I just love the way they are consistent with the branding. And one that I want to recommend is Rebecca Radice. Rebecca has a K at the end of her, Rebecca, and Radice, Rebecca Radice.com. She's got a wonderful blog. And if you want to know anything about branding, you definitely want to follow her. And of course, she talks about social media and all, Facebook, all that good stuff too. And one last one I want to recommend is Anna Hoffman from Traffic Generation Cafe. Anna is a master of repurposing content. And it's something that you're not going to want to do when you first start blogging, but you're going to want to have this in mind when you write a piece of content. How can I repurpose it? How can I extend the life of that content on other platforms like YouTube and live streaming and SlideShare and the whole bit? And Anna teaches that, and she does a fantastic job of it on her website.
Well, I wouldn't let that list go without mentioning that Tech Talk Live has a blog as well.
All right.
And you can find information about blogging, social media, and the like on our Tech Talk Live blog.
Mm-hmm.
Blog must be in my mind. Oh my goodness, Eileen, this has been such fun. I want to say thank you so much for being with me today. Tech Talk Live is always open to you coming for a visit. just let us know when you have free time. You're always welcome to come back and spend some time with us. I want to thank you for sharing with our audience about blogging and learning how to blog. Is there any last words you'd like to say to the audience before we leave?
Well, yes, I do want to say, Pam, thank you so much for inviting me. You're doing a fantastic, amazing job with your content and building it and being consistent. Having these interviews on your channel, you're going to grow on YouTube, and I wish you all the best. I do want to say, though, anyone who has questions they want to ask me about blogging or live streaming or YouTube, you can contact me through my SpeakPipe page. You can leave a voicemail. Okay, just fire up your, grab your phone or get your computer's microphone, or if you have an external microphone, and that SpeakPipe web address is speakpipe.com/Eileen, and that's spelled ILEANE. One more time, ILEANE. And I look forward to hearing from you, and I will answer your questions.
For those of you who would like to follow Tech Talk Live, we are found at techtalklive242.com/blog, and I posted it in the chat. So if you want more information about Tech Talk Live, or you want to ask me a question, you can find me on my website, techtalklive242.com, or you can DM me on Twitter, techtalklive1. Thank you so much for being here, and have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Do subscribe to our Tech Talk YouTube channel by clicking the button below. Thank you again, Eileen.